I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Certain part of St. Louis you represent?
No, I don't represent a certain part. I represent everywhere. Everywhere in St. Louis, that's me.
Still living in St. Louis?
Yeah, I'm still around the area.
Now, what was it like for you growing up in St. Louis? Can you paint that picture for us?
Paint the picture of me growing up. I grew up in the church. I grew up in the church, and I grew up playing sports. So started off playing baseball, after t-ball, then basketball, then football, t-ball, football, basketball, however it go. But that's how I grew up playing sports. Got 2 sisters. It was rougher for us growing up, but changed around high school time. Got better.
What was your roughest moment growing up?
My roughest moment growing up.
Speaking of rough.
Man, I just used to always stand into something. No matter
Trouble?
what. Yeah, in some trouble. Kicked out of school. Just being a bonehead kid. Mistakes come from being a bonehead kid.
Was that the most serious thing you got into trouble-wise, was getting kicked out of school?
At a young age, yeah, that was the most, getting kicked out of school.
Kicked out, we're talking expulsion, not suspension.
Same thing. If they put you out of school, you got to go to a different school.
Oh yeah, that's expulsion.
Yeah.
Well, some people can get suspended outside of school.
That's regular. That's normal. ISS suspension. Well, that's ISS.
Maybe take a few days time out.
Yeah.
Can't be in school, but then you can come right back in.
Yeah.
Expulsion, yeah, you're banished from that school.
Yeah. I had that happen to me in high school. Got 10 days in the hearing. Kicked out of school. I had to go to the hearing. And went to a different school after that.
Now, you got kicked out just one time in your school career?
No, I got kicked out a couple times.
For what?
Once, I was young, somebody burned the carpet. A whole nother situation. Got to escape that cleanly. And then I got put out of high school. They said I was selling marijuana. They said I was selling marijuana. They put me out for 10 days in the hearing.
So you were into some street activity?
Not necessarily. I was into getting money. I'm a hustler. I'm gonna get some paper.
Okay.
I was in the streets, but yeah, I want to get some paper though. That's what I was doing.
Did it start off with like selling candy in school and then led to marijuana selling, or?
I sell some of everything. It don't matter, whatever you can get your hands on in life and you can get some money. I was doing it.
Now, you got kicked out for that, which is a consequence that could happen when you do sell drugs.
But if you're not doing that, you shouldn't get kicked out.
What do you mean?
If that's what wasn't what you were doing, you shouldn't have got kicked out of school. Like I got kicked out for 10 days in the hearing. My last 10 days of school, my finals and everything. I got F's all across the board, and I got the 10 days. I didn't get to take my finals. They put me out of school, and I went to the hearing. They let me back in school, but I had to take F's all across the board for all that, and came back to a different school with a different GPA and had to get straight A's just to graduate and go to college.
But I didn't understand that statement you said.
What was the statement?
Break it down. You said, I can't remember exactly what you said, but you said a phrase a second ago. Because I said that was a consequence of you selling drugs and getting caught.
I said if I wasn't doing that at the time, I shouldn't have got kicked out of school for that.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I was saying.
No, okay, well, this is what I was leading to. I was going to say that, looking back, even hustling with the selling of marijuana, that could be consequences with that. Obviously, you had consequences of...
Me and my partners, we were young. We watched Big Meech, watched BMF. They was getting paper. We was trying to do the same thing they was doing on a lower scale. So I had some of my partners. I used to run with them, and then I had a couple cousins I was getting money with, and that's how I was all over the board getting money doing that.
Now, why go that route, knowing that there's consequences that could happen? There's violence that could be associated with that. There's
it was, but
jail time and prison time.
What I would have took for whatever it was that I was gonna have to get, because I decided to do that. That was a decision I made. So when I was young, influence, watch 50 Cent, the way he was doing to getting some money. Anything in life is about popularity now. Because you go to college, you can go to college, get a degree, you get that degree, and you still can't get no job in that field. So everything right now is about fame and popularity and money, and that's it. If you got popularity or you got fame, you can always get some money.
So is it safe to say you were influenced by maybe rap music or rappers?
Not necessarily music. I'm more influenced by my parents. I seen my parents get money. My mother did everything the right way, and she taught me how to do everything the right way, which I am doing now. But at that time, I got to get the money, the fast money, however it comes. So big money hustlers, that was my partners, that was my crew, that was what we were doing. We was on that route, just getting money. Everything, all the numbers and everything. I just found a way to get a niche, to find out how to get money the fastest way, and then blow it on dumb stuff, buying Jordans and just stupid stuff, buying clothes and just whatever was dumb and I could spend money on. That's what I was doing.
Now, making that decision, any regrets?
No, I don't regret anything, man. I don't regret anything I've done in life, because if I was going to regret it, I shouldn't have been doing it. So I made most of my decisions before I did it anyway, and I just had a lot of fun throughout life, man.
Well, people make accidents or make bad decisions, and then they regret it. Like, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, yes, but that's just how it is. That's just like a kid, a bad kid. You got bad kids at home. They get tore up all the time, getting whooped all the time. I was one of those kids. So when I made a decision, I was like, oh, I'm going to get whooped for that. I'll take that whooping, though. I did that because I knew I was going to get it, and I knew I was going to take that whooping, so I just took it.
Now, was it worth it? Was the risk worth the reward, or what you got?
Nah, ain't no risk is ever worth the reward, because I'm still out here working and hustling the right way now, which is, the money is slow. So you go from getting that money to getting slow money, and you just trying to take care of your family. It's a totally different mind frame you got to have, and a totally different hustle.
Now, how young did this start for you? Obviously, you got caught where you had to get expelled for it in high school, but how young did this
Man, I started
selling
getting
marijuana
money 15, 16, hustling heavy. Yeah, about 15, 16. I was playing football, basketball, and I was hustling. That's what I was doing.
So 1 foot in school, 1 foot.
Yeah. So my sophomore, junior year, I was getting money.
Somebody watching this, let's say they're in high school, doing the same thing. Not necessarily selling marijuana, but let's say 1 foot in school and 1 foot in doing some sort of street activity. Circumstances could be different for everybody, but what would you tell a kid, maybe around the same age, doing this 1 foot in, 1 foot out like you were? What would you tell them right now, generally speaking? General advice here.
I tell a kid I understand what they're going through, but it ain't worth it. There's a lot of people who could have saved my life, and I don't want to. I saved my own life. My parents saved my life. The people around me saved my life. But it's so many people who can help. So sometimes you just got to reach out for help. Say, for instance, if one of my head coaches or one of my teachers or anything would have just pushed me in that right direction, it would have been totally different. But when you see a person and you look at them for what you think that you know, it's totally different from what they really are. So sometimes you just need, those teachers or whoever need to just speak to the kids and just get in touch with them a little more. That's it.
Let me ask you this: because you mentioned your parents here, did you hide this from your parents, or did your parents eventually find out you were doing this?
Oh man, we talking about my life for real. So I might well talk about my mama gonna kill me for this interview. But so 13 years old, my father stabbed my mother in the neck. So my mother survived, my father went to jail, and I lost my father at the age of 13. He was there as I was growing up playing Little League, playing sports. He used to coach a lot of the teams I played on, and he was a good role model for the kids. He loved his kids. He just made a bad mistake, man. So.
When you say you lost him, we're talking like prison?
Yeah, he took himself away from his kids, is what I call it, what I say. He went to jail.
How much time did he have to do?
Was it 36 or something crazy? Like, there was 30-something. He did 20-something, and he actually died at the age of 49 with a bad heart.
Oh, he died in prison?
The day before he turned 50, he died in prison.
And what was the actual charge? Like an attempted murder or something?
Yeah, I don't even remember the exact charge, man.
But that's a steep. Those are some steep times, some steep years.
Yeah, for sure, because some sort of
murder charge there.
Because it was picked up by the state, so it was a wrap. The judge or the lady, it was a wrap. No matter what my mother said or how much she loved him or whatever she said, that I don't want y'all to persecute him or whatever, she couldn't say nothing to say that man. That lady, the judge had it out for him, and that was it. The prosecutor, she had it in for him. He was a goner.
So after he's taken away in prison, is he like gone from your life completely, or are you still?
I wouldn't necessarily say he's gone from my life completely, because he talked to my sisters. He called the house and stuff.
So there was still communication.
It was communication, but I was so busy and focused on sports and what I was doing, I wasn't even focused on him like I should have been, because he probably could have helped push me more in the direction I needed to go to continue to get to that level I was supposed to get to in sports. Now, I did well, but it was so many dealing with adversity and prejudiced people and so many things like that you had to deal with, just being a politic and all that type of stuff. If he would have been there to show me what I was supposed to do or have more of an output in my life in that particular point, it would have been different.
Was there visitation?
Yeah, it was, but I never wanted to go see him. So
my question here is, was there ever a forgiveness over this incident? Did your mother ever forgive him over it, or was it like no communication with this person ever again type of thing?
Did my mother communicate? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is with this magnitude of a decision making right here, stabbing in the neck. You said even if your mom said whatever she could do to prevent all this time from happening, the state, it was what it was going to be already, because the state had taken a hold of the case and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, was there ever forgiveness from your mom over this incident or other family members over this?
Yeah, my mother forgave him.
Okay.
But I didn't actually forgive him until he passed away, which hurt my soul, because I was a daddy's boy. I was always with my father. I knew my mother, but I didn't know him. I didn't know her as well as I knew him. So when that happened, I got to know her very well. Me and my mother were real close. But before that, I could tell you way more things about my father than I could about my mother.
When you say you're a daddy's boy, is this a two-parent household, or is there a split?
No, at the time, my mother and my father were together.
You were just closer to your father being the son.
They got divorced at the age of 12. When I was 12. I think 12 or 13, one of them, they got divorced, and then it happened so fast. It was like right after that they got divorced, and that happened. Yeah.
Now, you were living with your father or mother after the divorce?
After the divorce, I was living with my mother.
Okay. And then the stabbing probably came at what age? 13,
Christmas time. I remember like yesterday, man. I was 13 years old. It was December, right before Christmas. I remember this because he told us before Christmas, he's like, yeah, y'all about to have one of the best Christmas y'all ever had this year. And then that happened. So I'm not I'm not real big on Christmas, and my girl always get on me about it, but it is what it is.
With something like this happening, especially at that young of an age, I mean, you know, preteen, teenager, your early teenage years, this could be detrimental to somebody's mind and thinking at that age.
Yeah, that's why I was out here trying to get some money. Yeah, it hurts your soul for real. It's different in life, growing up and trying to stay focused on things you're supposed to stay focused on. Always go to the back burner when you got something else going on.
So are we inferring here that maybe with the lack of a male presence, the drug selling and the fast money and this type of lifestyle entered in?
For sure. Because I grew up with my cousin. When me and my cousin grew up, we were real close. He moved out of town. He moved out of town to New Orleans. Then he came back. When he came back, we both was in the same boat. Like my cousin and my partners, which were my brothers at the time, we all basically made a pattern. We was just trying to make whatever we can make happen.
Was there ever professional counseling or therapy?
Oh yeah, I went to counseling, man. I got an attitude problem, man. So I went to counseling right after that, younger age, and what he did allowed me to grow and see what I shouldn't do. So I can control my attitude and control the certain things to keep me from going that route to do what he did. But I have that anger, I have that frustration built up inside of me.
Did the therapy and consultation and all that, did that help you?
Yeah, as a young person, yeah, it helped.
Do you wish there was more of it? Was there a lack of it?
I don't know. I don't honestly know, because I don't know how much you really supposed to have. Like, how do you tell somebody who has that happen, a devastating thing happen at such a young age like that? How do you tell them how they supposed to feel or how they supposed to react to something? My last time I cried, I was 13 years old, man. My grandfather died right before my dad did that, and that was the last time I cried, man.
You're an adult now. You're a grown man. You said you haven't cried since you were about 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like, even though you're grown and that situation was long ago, do you feel like you should seek counseling or therapy at this point for it?
Nah, it just, going through that at that time helps me get things in front of myself in more perspective, like to be able to see it and understand better. So I used to worry about things like, why did that person do this, or why do people react to things like this, and why do they do that? And I used to really wonder and really want to know, but the best thing for me to know is that ain't really none of my business. I don't have to know. I shouldn't know.
Okay, so the stabbing happens. How soon before your mother forgives him for that situation? A few years? Relatively quickly?
It was a while.
Okay.
Because I probably was like 18. Yeah, about 18, getting ready to go to college, and he'll call, and one of my sisters will answer, and she crack a joke like, tell him when he call, he could speak to me. Like, just silly stuff like that. That's how I know that she forgave him.
Ah, I see. You never did, though. Not until he passed away.
Because the last conversation I had with him, I told him, as long as he kept up with my sisters and my niece, that he was good in my book. So we weren't on bad terms, but it just took me a long time to actually be able to forgive him.
Hmm. Now, was your mother okay from the incident?
No.
As far as like...
No, she was like, yeah,
as far as
she's
like
functional.
Okay.
Yeah, she's functional. She doesn't.
It didn't paralyze her?
No, she's not paralyzed, but she has a big old scar on her neck where if you look at her and you know her, you can tell, you can see it.
I see.
Yeah, but she healed pretty well. She's a soldier.
Now, was there ever another male figure in your life?
Oh yeah, for sure. My mother had a boyfriend as we were growing up who had a couple kids. They were always around, and she dated him for a long time. But yeah, I had another father figure, if that's what you want to call him.
And you had a good rapport with him, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, we cool. I talk to him. I still talk to him to this day. He'll tell people that that's my dad, man.
Your mother and him are still like boyfriend girlfriend, or are they passed?
No, they don't. I don't know what they got going on.
But they're still in cahoots.
Yeah, they still. She on his team. She support him. Whatever he doing, she always support.
Now, when it comes to a mother and like her son, and then there comes a new male figure in the life, sometimes that's not as sweet as you made it sound here with your description. Sometimes it's awkward. Sometimes it's competitive. Sometimes
it wasn't necessarily awkward for me, but one of my sisters has made it a big deal, and that's what made it awkward for everybody. But like my little sister loved him, and my big sister, growing up, actually had an issue with it or a problem. Or I don't know. That just caused a ripple on both sides. But it just is what it is. She loves him now, though.
What made it so easy for you, or easier for you, to accept him as a figure and not like, oh, you're not my dad, you're not this, you can't tell me what to, you see movies and TV shows about stuff like this. Just
because I know who my dad is, and me and my dad were solid. So with knowing the person that he is, he wasn't a bad person, and he wasn't trying to come in and take my father's spot, is really what it was. He just was there. If I needed something, talk to him about something, or whatever I needed, he was there for me to give. He actually made music too, so that's part of the reason that I got a passion for music. He's still making music to this day.
So it was a natural chemistry also between you two?
Oh yeah, that's how I picked up to even want to do music. Like they used to freestyle, and I used to freestyle. I used to tell everybody all the time trying to get in the studio, and never could get in the studio. He'd be right at my house in the studio all the time, and I never got in there and did anything. But as I got older, and I was like, man, I found a passion in that because sports was over for me. So I really thought I was going to the NFL and the NBA or something. So when sports was non-existent for me actually get a check like an NFL professional player gets, I decided to do something else.
So your mom's boyfriend was, when you called dad, he was rapping?
He sings.
Sings?
Yeah.
Oh, because you said you were freestyling. I don't know if he was freestyling.
Hey, no, he wasn't freestyling with us. I'm talking about just in school and people around the neighborhood and stuff like that.
So he was singing and you got into the rapping stuff.
Yeah.
And did you guys ever collab on stuff together?
Nah, we still haven't collabed to this day. He just started back making music. He was in a group called Old School. So he's in a group called Old School, and they got with Tiny now. So they're trying to get on tour with Tiny now right now. But, yeah.
Now, when it came to school, for you, generally speaking, what type of kid were you in class?
Oh man, I was smart. I went to college. I got kicked out of college, which is another situation. That's a whole nother BS. I could talk about this. I got caught with over so many grams of marijuana, and I got arrested for drug trafficking. So I got arrested for drug trafficking and
off campus.
And this is where it becomes tricky. Mm-hmm. The school was paying for me to live in the place I was living. So they was trying to say it was on campus, but it was off campus and I was living in an apartment. So that was one of the major parts of me getting the situation that I got, which I shouldn't have got anything. I should have been able to walk clean away from it, but I couldn't get no lawyer in St. Charles, Missouri to take the case. I had to go to St. Louis to get a lawyer, and he kind of was scary, and it wasn't really his technical field, and everybody was telling me I was going to have to do at least 5 years, and he was the only person that told me I wasn't, so that's how I figured that out.
He was able to get you out of that situation?
Yeah, we got up out of that situation.
That sounds amazing, because with everybody telling you 5 and him telling you, and it's not his technical field.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. When I call somebody, or somebody I know calls somebody and they're black, and we're in a predominantly white area, and you explain what happened, and you tell them my grandson, my nephew, my son is 6'1", long dreads, plays football, African American, a big guy. What, I was 220, 215. They wasn't trying to hear that, man. I did whatever they said I did. That's what they were trying to say. It ain't matter if I did it or not, but that's what was going on.
What was the end result? Some sort of probation, or charges dropped? What ended up happening?
Yeah, I got probation and SIS, whatever that stuff's called, man.
Okay, so kind of let's. I'll get back to the college thing in a second, but generally speaking, I wanted to see what type of kid you were in class. Also a troublemaker too?
Because I was a good kid as far as schoolwork.
You were smart.
Yeah, but so like I had a 3.75 before I got kicked out of college, and I needed a year to finish with a general degree and a year and a half to be a physical education teacher. So in high school, I was a good kid, but I was lacking on my grades because I was too busy just focused on BS, like hollering at females or joning. Now let me come in the classroom and you steady joning, and I keep letting you slide, and you get your jokes off and they not that funny, and I got 2-3 jokes for you, and I get put out of class, so I get suspended because I made everybody laugh at you. Like, I was one of them kids. Like, if you couldn't join, you had to be able to fight, and I could do both of them pretty well.
Now, when you got into music, that was also, what grade was this? When you started
college. When I actually started, freestyling and stuff was in high school. When I actually made my first song, I was in college. So I got a beat. I got a beat from my partner, and I just freestyled on the whole first thing. So I went in, I was at my partner crib. He went to college with me. His name Crazy Flo. He do music right now. But I went to his house. I pulled the beat up. He told me, man, just get on there and practice. That's what I did. I recorded the first verse a couple times. It was cool. I said I just talked right after. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this freestyle. I'm gonna spit some bars and I'm gonna talk. So he heard it. He said, hey man, that's nice, but you need to keep freestyling after that. So I kept freestyling some more, and then that was that on the first song. So before I did that, I had got a terrible microphone in my house. It was probably a $20, $30 microphone. I put it on top of a computer, taped it on there, and I had bought some little thing Jay-Z recorded music back in the day. Everybody was talking about this project he recorded, the blueprint on this, not Pro Tools, but whatever it is at the time Jay-Z was using. So I used that, and I made a song to Chris Brown Deuces. Had one of my little partners sing, and I figured out how to make his voice sound like he was Chris Brown, and that's how I really started messing around with music and getting into it.
So you graduated high school.
I graduated high school.
And you got some sort of scholarship to college?
Yes, I actually got a football scholarship to college.
Oh, what college?
I went to Indiana State University. I went there for 2 years, and then I went to Lindenwood University. I got a scholarship to play football over there.
You transferred?
I transferred.
Why?
My first year in college, the head coach had got fired. And when he got fired, it was just really a wrap for me playing ball there because the next coach things wasn't the same. So
when you made the choice to transfer, how did that work? Is that something you
I actually transferred because
did your ex-coach go there or something?
No, my ex-coach didn't go there. Oh. I thought I had moved back home because this female tried to play me and was talking about she had was having a kid. So I should have. I listened to my mother in the situation where she told me gave me some advice, and I took the advice, and I should have went a different route. But she tried to play me and tried to say she was having a kid by me, but it wasn't my kid. And I transferred home to play ball there and work from home to get money a different way because I was paying out-of-state tuition when I was going to the other school.
I don't get it. You're on scholarship, but you're paying out-of-state tuition?
Yeah, it's just a lot, man. They're tied into it. Like, they'll pay only part or pay 3/4 or, you know what I'm saying, a certain situation of your scholarship that they had, they'd pay for, and the rest they wouldn't. So on top of my scholarship, I still had out-of-state fees.
I see. Now, okay, so you transfer. And you also made a statement earlier in this interview, and you was like, when I realized I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a check from the NFL or something like, when was that point realized? Was that when you had gotten in trouble for this marijuana situation in college?
That was right after. If I would have been playing sports or playing football like I was supposed to, I wouldn't have never gotten in trouble. That wouldn't have never happened to me. I was there to play sports. That's what I was there for. So
I have a little disconnect. There was some sort of break then between you playing sports and then the marijuana charge happened?
It happened. I wound up stopped playing football at the end of that last season before I had got arrested.
Oh.
So I had made the decision not to play football, and I just was going to school. So I was getting my grades up, and my grades were already up. I was on the dean's list. I had great grades, but I was just trying to graduate, really, just get up out of there.
Why'd you quit football initially?
I quit football because I was dealing with politics and just racial stuff that I was tired of dealing with.